but our relationship was in a bad place and I would have ended up a struggling single mother. I didn't want to bring a child into the toxic S. It's as if I'm being silenced in my sorrow. My decision to have an abortion at 9 weeks was a difficult choice, but ultimately it was the best one for my well-being. The father and I were both drawn to the idea of starting a family, but our relationship was strained and I knew it wouldn't be a stable environment for a child. Being a single mother would have been an overwhelming burden, and I couldn't bear the thought of subjecting a child to the toxicity that existed between us. While I've tried to convince myself it was the right decision, the pain of it still lingers. It's a heavy weight to carry, and it feels like I'm being judged for my grief because the procedure was an abortion. The fact that it was so early in my pregnancy makes it even harder to process my emotions. It's as if I'm expected to simply move on, to put the pain behind me, but it's not that simple. The longing to turn back time and alter the course of events haunts me every day. AITA for suggesting one of my female friends not go to India traveling solo? A female friend of mine is going travel AITA by herself, and as part of this trip she had India on the list. I butted in here and stated I don't believe India is safe for women. I'm not saying th. Was I the asshole for expressing concern over solo travel in India? A close friend of mine has been planning a solo trip to Asia, with India being one of the destinations on her list. I intervened in the conversation and expressed my reservations about her traveling to India alone. I wasn't implying that the entire country is overrun with threats, but rather acknowledging the well-documented cases and reports of safety concerns for women. Now, I'm being accused of being racist for my comments, which I genuinely intended as a cautionary measure for her well-being. Edit. The situation has been unfolding over several days, with my friend and others initially understanding my concerns. However, the label of racism has now been applied to my comments, and I'm struggling to reconcile this with my original intentions. Update. I'd like to clarify that my primary concern was my friend's safety and well-being, not any prejudice or bias towards the Indian people. I'm open to discussing this further and exploring ways to address my friend's concerns about traveling to India. TLDR. I expressed concerns about my friend's solo travel in India, which has led to accusations of racism. I'm seeking clarification on whether I was the asshole for trying to protect my friend's safety. Be nice when asking directions. I live in a sparsely populated area and maps of our locale show geographical features of interest nearby. Once, an obviously wealthy couple pulled into my driveway in a large new truck pulling a very large new boat, and very condescendingly and nah. A polite approach often yields the best results when seeking guidance. Living in a rural area surrounded by sparse population, I frequently rely on maps to explore our region's natural attractions. One day, an affluent-looking couple arrived at my residence in a sleek, brand-new vehicle towing an impressive, oversized boat. Their demeanor was dismissive and unpleasant as they curtly asked me for directions to Cabin Lake. I obliged their request, providing them with clear instructions on how to reach the destination. However, I tactfully omitted mentioning the less-than-ideal conditions of Cabin Lake, which lies at the end of a rugged 5-mile goat path road. It's worth noting that when interacting with kind and considerate individuals, I typically share additional information about the location, including its unique characteristics. Nearly walked out of Mother's Day breakfast. So my wife, Mill, and I are just sitting down at our favorite breakfast spot for Mother's Day breakfast. With a look as serious as a heart attack. Mill. You three, wife, Bill, and Ale-mongrel, need to hurry up and get rich so I. A Mother's Day breakfast that could have been disastrous. My wife, mother-in-law, Mill, and I were settling in at our go-to breakfast spot for a relaxing celebration. But then, her expression turned stern. Mill. You four, wife, Bill, and me, need to work towards financial stability so I can enjoy my retirement. I instinctively started to get up, but my wife placed a gentle hand on my thigh, and I sat back down, vowing to remain silent until we left the restaurant. It's puzzling. Why did we have to be pushed to be responsible and self-sufficient as children if our parents are now expecting us to support them financially? A frustrating start to the day. Minimum donation $10. Somebody posted on AskReddit a few days ago complaining about not being able to feed their kids. Comments were full of people suggesting charities. I looked up the first one mentioned and it was an online food bank. I forget what it was called. I went to. A recent post on AskReddit sparks a community response. A few days ago, a Redditor expressed their struggles with providing food for their children, prompting a flood of comments from users recommending various charities. One particular charity that caught my eye was an online food bank that had been suggested in the comments. I visited their website to make a contribution and initially decided to donate £5. However, upon entering the amount in the donation form, I was informed that the minimum donation required was £10. In response, I decided to reach out to another charity, Lasagna Love, and made a £5 donation to support their cause. My wife left me a few minutes ago. I found out my wife is having an affair and I asked her about it. It ended in her leaving me and she took my son. My son is named after a close buddy of mine who was killed in Afghanistan. It hurts. It hurt to see them leave, and the smile. The weight of reality has hit me like a ton of bricks, and it's only just beginning. Discovering that my partner was being unfaithful was the last thing I expected, and it's left me reeling. Our conversation turned into a confrontation, and now she's gone, taking our child with her. My son bears the name of a dear friend I lost during a deployment in Afghanistan, and it's a constant reminder of the sacrifices made for our family. Witnessing their departure, and my child's carefree smile, has left an aching void in my heart. My efforts to contain my emotions were futile, as the moment the door closed behind them, my composure shattered. The thought of losing my little boy is unbearable. He's the center of my world, and I'm consumed by the fear of a life without him. Now, I'm left to drown my sorrows in an attempt to dull the pain. I stole from Taco Bell daily for months without getting caught. I used to use the Taco Bell app to order food, and one day my app stopped allowing my orders to go through. My phone would show that I had placed an order, but when I would pull up to Taco Bell they couldn't see M. A sneaky routine that went undetected for months. I was accustomed to using the Taco Bell app to place my daily orders, but one day I encountered an unexpected snag. My app suddenly stopped processing my orders, displaying a message on my phone that an order had been successfully placed. However, when I arrived at the Taco Bell location, their staff couldn't locate the order on their end. They would then ask to see my phone to verify the order details, and they would kindly accommodate my request. Subsequently, I would log into my app and cancel the order, claiming that it hadn't been processed yet. This clever ruse played out daily for months without raising any suspicions, but eventually, my plan came to an end. Edit. I am sharing this story anonymously to raise awareness about the prevalence of food theft in fast food establishments. Update. I have since learned that some Taco Bell locations have implemented measures to prevent app-based order tampering, such as requiring staff to manually verify orders on their end or limiting the number of times an order can be cancelled. TLDR. I exploited a loophole in the Taco Bell app to get free food for months, but my scheme eventually got shut down.